The name Salient Arms International might ring a bell for those who have been into guns since the 1994 assault weapons ban expired or watched a few recent Michael Bay movies. Salient Arms, or SAI, was a very reputable, high-end firearms manufacturer. Their shtick was taking guns that were already in production, like Glocks, 1911s, AR-15s, and shotguns, and modifying them for higher performance. Their signature gold titanium nitrided barrels were a hit in 2015. Of course, they weren't the first company to do this. Companies like Agency Arms, ZevTech, and Terran Tactical Innovations, and others have done similar things. But Salient had some interesting ideas. The strange thing is, they're nowhere to be found online. A cursory search on YouTube reveals very little information on the company and the guns they produce. There's more information on the airsoft versions of their firearms than the real things themselves. Although, there are a few videos from KommandoStore and TFB, mostly on the SAI Gray, a $3,500 AR-15 with a unique device called a jailbreak. The jailbreak was made of machined aluminum and attached to the end of the rail. It sat over the muzzle device and was purported to defuse the muzzle blast. From previous experience speaking with Salient sales reps, the idea was that this could help with those who wanted the performance output of a muzzle brake and flash hiding capability, but wanted the blast to be diffused so as to not bother others. An interesting solution for those not wanting to buy a suppressor, especially back in 2014, 2015, when NFA items were much more of a niche. This is just a single example of the interesting ideas put forward by SAI. Their other color-coded cannons, the blue, the red, and the gold, each brought something interesting to the table. The looks of the firearms may have inspired their usage in a few Michael Bay movies, from 13 Hours and Transformers to his most recent film, Ambulance. A friend of ours actually owns a real SAI Blu, and we were intrigued, so we thought we could do a little video on this unique handgun, as there's very little information online about it. Does it fit with the rest of the content of this channel? Not really. But we all found the subject interesting, so here it is, an overproduced think piece on a gun that doesn't fit anywhere into this modern day market, but was at one point a sought after feature set for those looking to trick out their Glock. The SAI Blu was the Glock for people who hate Glocks. Besides the fact that it's built on a Gen 3 Glock 17. The Blu had pretty much everything swapped out, machined, stippled, or replaced entirely. But the most notable feature is the grip angle. Glock handguns famously sport a 22-degree grip angle. This comes with a learning curve from those who are used to shooting platforms like a 1911. Meanwhile, one of the main selling points of something like a Smith & Wesson M&P is an 18-degree grip angle, which is touted as being the natural point of aim. Is there any truth to that claim? Maybe. But for those in 2015 who wanted a Glock but hated that grip angle, the Salient Blu was one of the only options available to them on the market. Now, besides that, the gun itself was feature-packed for its time. The Blu featured a weighted gold-colored backstrap that matched its gold SAI logo-adorned magazine release. The backstrap helped to provide a little bit of balance to the gun, most likely to help with recoil mitigation. The Blu also featured some extremely aggressive stippling and slide cuts. These slide cuts make press checks and general slide manipulation really easy, as they're angled in a way that they really catch your hand. Honestly, it would be nice to see slide cuts in this style more often. We've only ever seen it on the Blu, which adds to its unique profile. The Blu also features a threaded barrel and a fiber optic front iron sight with a blacked out rear. This was before optics cuts were a standard feature, so that was as good as it got for serious handgun shooters in 2015. Crazy how much can change in just a few years' time. The trigger is also a custom SAI marked trigger, and generally feels good, as it should for the price point. The Blu also features a flared magwell, but interestingly it isn't a funnel, so it doesn't particularly work well at what it was designed to do. Lastly, some small details. The trigger guard is cut to accommodate a certainly different grip, which involves placing the index finger of your support hand around the front of the trigger guard. That part is stippled along with the area that your middle finger of your support hand interfaces with as well. It's a nice touch. With all of that being said, it shoots nice too. It really depends on your affinity for aftermarket upgrades on a Glock, but for those who wanted a Gucci Glock in 2015 with a 1911 or M&P grip angle, this one was the go-to. Shooting the Blu is interesting. On one hand, the gun itself feels really light, so it's easy to overdrive the gun. On the other hand, the weighted backstrap gives you an ever so slight amount of extra control over the recoil management. Of course, shooting the gun with a suppressor is fun too. At this point in a review, the normal thing to do would be to talk about the price and how that could affect your purchasing decision. But there's a problem. We haven't seen an SAI Blu for sale in years, even on sites like Gunbroker. No data aggregation site had any information on any sales of a Salient Blu occurring at all. The only thing that turned up on completed listings on Gunbroker was 2 airsoft guns that, surprise, didn't sell. So maybe the question, would I pay $2,295 for this handgun in 2024, isn't the right question to be asked. The SAI Blu stands as a really interesting piece of modern firearms history. It represents a really awkward stage in guns, before YouTube was full of fantastic recommendations on what to buy. Like your middle school goth phase or Jinko jeans, the SAI Blu is a stepping stone to where we are currently. Like the films it appears in, it's an exercise in style over substance. And so concludes our investigation of the SAI Blu. If you like videos like this, please consider subscribing to the channel, or more importantly, subscribe to our email list at KommandoStore.com/pro. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.